Out front now, Republican Congressman from Illinois, Adam Kinzinger, and I appreciate your time, Congressman. Obviously, look, the president at the end of the day here is signing what Democrats had offered very specifically. We were playing their sound bites earlier, right? 3 weeks, open the government for 3 weeks, and we'll negotiate. That's what's happening here with no wall funding in the intermediate time frame. You heard the senior advisor saying that this is a humiliating negotiating loss for the president. You voted, one of a handful of Republicans who voted with Democrats this week. You wanted to reopen the government. Do you think this was a humiliating loss for the president?
I think we're going to know more in 3 weeks. I mean, look, government shutdowns don't work. And if you look at the last three ones, there was the 2013 with the Obamacare, there was the DACA issue with Schumer, and then this one. And each time somebody tries to get something in addition to what already exists, they always end up losing in a shutdown fight. Shutdowns are dumb, and we need, as Americans and as legislators, frankly, to learn how to do this as adults, to take differences, negotiate them out, and understand that a negotiation doesn't have to be a win-lose. There can be win-wins here or lose-lose. I don't care what you call them, but there's a point at which we have to negotiate. So what my hope is this 3 weeks here actually can buy us what Nancy Pelosi called for, legitimate opportunity to negotiate on things like border funding, maybe throw DACA and stuff in there, and get something big done.
So now, we're in a situation where obviously, the 35 days, people didn't get paid. You had Erin closing today because people were calling out sick, and we end up with exactly what she had put on the table on day one. So, I mean, it's hard for people to understand exactly what happened. And in the Rose Garden today, the president said this.
If we don't get a fair deal from Congress, the government will either shut down on February 15th again, or I will use the powers afforded to me under the laws and the Constitution of the United States to address this emergency.
So, Congressman, do you think he's willing to do that? I mean, are we going to get a national emergency and build a wall, executive action, or how's this going to happen?
It's possible, and I need to see the details of what that is. I would certainly prefer it not go this way, and I support building the wall, border security and barriers. But my hope is over the next 3 weeks again, and the problem is, so one thing that I think is important to notice now is people that think the federal government is not important. It's important, and we see that in some of the problems that we're mounting today when air traffic control airports and stuff, and that was just 20-some% of the federal government that was closed down. So we play an important role. And so being that we play this important role in American lives, it's time for us to grow up and as adults get together, and I hate when people say have a conversation, but frankly, it's be willing to negotiate and take something you don't want to get something you do. And I guarantee you, once this is done, 80% of the American people will like what the product is.
So I want to ask you before we go, Congressman, about Roger Stone, obviously. Robert Mueller charging him today, says he was coordinating with campaign officials about those WikiLeaks stolen emails. And I just want to read you the key line in the indictment. It says, after the July release, 2016 release of stolen DNC emails by WikiLeaks, a senior Trump campaign official was directed to contact Stone about additional releases and what other damaging information WikiLeaks had regarding the Clinton campaign. I don't know if you just heard Senator Blumenthal, but he just said the person who directed the senior official, it's a weird way to phrase it, right? Who's more senior than a senior official. He says it must be Donald Trump himself or Donald Trump Jr. Do you agree?
Well, I can't jump to those conclusions. Roger Stone has always creeped me out, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes down. I've said from the beginning on this that the Mueller report will be the thing that we need to read as people that are going to be on the potential jury. If anything moves forward, we have to read that report and take it what's in there versus kind of these moment by moment. Is it concerning? Absolutely. But I don't think we can jump to the point of saying it's the president or anybody like that. I have no indication of that, and we'll just have to see what the final report is.
All right, Congressman, I appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming out front.
Yeah, you bet. See ya.
And next, a federal worker and